Geeks, nerds, gamers, and trolls, this is your MMOBomb.com first look at Dead Frontier 2, a free-to-play, early access zombie survival game now available on Steam. It's got the MMO tag. I'm going to call it something more along the lines of MMO Lite, but there is an RPG-type progression system, quests, and players to play with online. We're going to get into all that. I am the noob Fridge Troy Blackburn. We're going to be taking a few minutes to take a look at what Dead Frontier 2 has to offer. Help you decide if it's a game you might want to try. Now, I can't pretend like I'm overly familiar with the original Dead Frontier. Just a quick search online. Looks like it was a top-down bullet hell type game. This is a third-person zombie survival game. You've got different melee weapons, different guns that you can pick up and loot along the way. And you also got to worry about a little bit about food and drink. It's not too bad as far as the food and drink, but there is a little bit more of that survival element found in the game. So you're going to run around, kill zombies, explore, and loot different things that you find in order to find supplies to survive. Now, this went into early access on Steam. It looks like on September 5th, according to the official Steam page. It is still very early access right now. I just let that be known. The game has run fine. I haven't run into a ton of bugs or anything, but it is still very bare bones. The combat's still a little on the jank side. Some of the items that you loot and find, it feels like there should be more things to loot and search and try to get different items out in the world. As you can see here, the UI is pretty basic, pretty bare bones. Inventory is text-based. So there's a lot of really early access type elements going on here right now. The core of the game itself, playing with a friend of mine, we found ourselves enjoying ourselves, but it is very basic right now. So if you just do not like early access games, like true early access games, you may want to skip this one altogether. But if you want to jump in and see kind of the bare minimum of what this game is going to be, now's a good time to jump in. It is 100% free to download and try. So the name of the game is run around, loot, kill zombies, and pick up quests. There's different hubs in different areas, and you can pick up quests from different NPCs there. Right now, I believe we were just kind of exploring the game, kind of ran into the first building when you first spawn in, just started killing zombies and looting to see what we could find. You do get XP just for killing zombies, but you'll get additional XP. You're completing missions as you do so. Typical mission quest hub. You walk into, like in the first town here, Dallow, you walk into the PD, pick up quests, and you go out and complete those quests, and you got to come back and turn them into those NPCs. All the while, you're going to be gathering XP, and as you gather XP, you're going to level up, and every time you level up, you get a skill point. Now, you start out with basically the ability to just wield a melee weapon or a gun, and using those skill points, you're going to pick up the ability to do things like sprint and lockpick and increase your inventory and be better with pistols or be better with shotguns or be better in melee. You'll be able to dodge, all sorts of different skills. There's a ton of skills in the game that you can pick up just by leveling up. Every time you get a skill point, you can pick out one of those skills. So there is RPG progression in the game, which is actually, at first it was a little weird not to be able to sprint at all. But when you first log in, you get a skill point to spend. I went ahead and spent mine on sprint. It's not a very long sprint, but it does give you the opportunity to run the heck away from something if you need to. And there are going to be times where, discretion is the better part of valor, and you may just want to run away, especially if you're by yourself and you're not with other people. Sometimes you walk into a room and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to nope out of this. So speaking of playing with other people, the reason I call it MMO Lite instead of just straight, MMO, is there's a server list and there's up to 8 people per server. You can join a random server with just a bunch of people playing, or you can create your own private server and you can put a password on it and just invite your friends and let them come in. The different ways to play. Also, when you're creating a room, you can create 2 different rule sets. You can create just a PvE rule set, or you can create a PvP rule set. So it's not heavily PvP focused. You can be on servers or create your own game where it's not just kill on sight. It's everybody's cooperating or just kind of running around doing their own thing on the server together. So different ways to play, and not the hardcore PvP focus that a lot of these type of survival games end up with, like DayZ kind of ended up as just a free-for-all, just kill on sight. If you see another person, either they need to die or you're going to die probably. Not necessarily the case in this if you're on a server with that rule set. Now, as you watch the footage, something super obvious comes to the forefront, and that's it. This is not a fast-paced, super high-action combat game. This is gritty. This is hardcore. This is dark. This is slow, this is paced, and there's penalties for making mistakes. If I swing this board and I miss this zombie, it takes me a second to recover. And that zombie's going to get a hit in on me and do a big chunk of my health. So you got to be careful about how you fight, when you fight, where you fight, and when you swing if you're using melee combat. And the good news is, as you can see, if I do hit them, it kind of stuns them for a second, so it does give me an opportunity to come back for a second swing. But right here, in this particular build that the footage was recorded in, these melee attacks, I believe, were only knocking back one zombie at a time. As of the update on September 16th, a melee weapon will knock back up to 3 zombies at a time and sort of give them that little stagger stun. It only does damage to the primary target, but you can stagger. So that makes melee a little easier if you're surrounded, if you're by yourself, but you still got to be careful in melee. There are perks you can pick up to improve your melee combat and improve your toughness to make yourself more survivable in melee if that's the way you want to go. Now, of course, if you're running melee, it means you're not going to worry so much about finding bullets, and you are going to have to find bullets in this game if you want to use guns. And you're going to find guns and not find bullets for them. You're going to find bullets and not have the guns for them. Just know that going in. That's a big part of the game. There is, and we'll show that off here in just a minute, a sort of a trading post, like a little auction house, where you can put items up for sale and purchase items from other players. So if you've got a particular gun you're looking for, sell off some of the stuff that you've got that you don't want to use on that trading post and pick up some stuff from other players. I've already thrown a couple of little things up for sale. There's enough players out there right now, as long as your prices are reasonable. My stuff has been getting purchased, and I've had to pick up some things like extra health kits and stuff from that little trading post. So, you know, it's going to be a big part of the game is you're not going to find everything you need. You're going to need to be able to utilize the stuff that you find, and anything you're not going to actually use, throw it up there for sale, get some cash out of it, and buy things from other players. Now, there are quite a few different towns to go to in the game, but in order to get to those, you're going to need to use your car. That's right, you've got an old rust bucket of a car. But like finding guns and ammo and food and medical supplies, you're going to find fuel to make this car go. It costs different amounts of fuel to get to different towns depending on where you want to go. And depending on the condition of your car, you're going to need different amounts of fuel to get there. You're going to get different miles per gallon. So you can store up to like 7 gallons of gas. You usually find a gallon at a time whenever you do find fuel. I've only found 1 gallon so far in the few hours that I've been playing. So we did make one trip to another town. The towns do have sort of minimum level suggestions. I don't know that they're necessarily requirements. I went to a level 5 town at level 4. The zombies in that town were tougher. They were more aggressive. There were different abilities I hadn't seen yet on some of those zombies in the next town. So I'm assuming as the game goes on, some of these zombies grow in their power and ability and do a few different things. It wasn't just this huge difference, but they were doing things and being more aggressive than they were in the starter town. So that was definitely noticeable the moment that I went to the next town over. As you can see, you can store items in your vehicle to take with you to the different towns, as well as I had like a little inventory box I can stick on top of my car, which adds more inventory space to my vehicle, just like using skill ups to create and increase my own personal inventory space. Here you can see the map with the different towns, and you can see the minimum level requirements. The game does go up to level 20 as of right now, but you can go into a guy inside the police station here and prestige your character up to 5 times. And what that does is once you hit level 20, you just start back at level 1. And for doing so, you're going to get an additional skill point. So you can do that up to 5 times. So if you prestige as many times as you can, hit max level prestige up to 5 times, you're going to have 5 additional skill points to use at the very end game. As of right now, there's only one way to spend money in the cash shop, and that's spend 20 bucks, and you're going to get 3 additional character slots, stash slots, inventory upgrades, stuff like that. No real pay-to-win stuff in there, and that's the only cash purchase in the game as of right now. So if you play the game and enjoy it and interested in expanding your inventory, you can spend 20 bucks, get a few bonuses there, a few additional character slots. Speaking of characters, there is character creation. I don't think I have any footage of that in this video because there's not a ton to show off right now. There's a few different faces and beards and a couple of hairstyles, and you can change your hair color. That's about it at the moment, so there's really not anything to show off there. So, you know, customize your character. If you want to spend a few bucks, you can. That's the only thing in the cash shop right now. There is a tab in your inventory for cosmetics, so it looks like at some point there's going to be some sort of cosmetic system in place. I'm not sure if that's actually implemented right now. I've never had anything show up in that cosmetics tab at all. So even though I've had like multiple shirts, I can't make the one I'm wearing maybe look like another one that I have in my inventory, at least not right now. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that going forward and see what the cosmetics look like. Game like this, if you want to do a fair pay-to-play type game or cash shop, not pay-to-play, a fair cash shop in a free-to-play game, cosmetics is a pretty popular way to do that. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is some of the world persistence. And the first thing we're going to talk about is when you die. When you die, you don't lose your character and you don't lose all your skills. You're going to respawn in the last outpost, which is like the PD in the starter town. You're going to respawn in that outpost. You're only going to have 25 of 100 health. And you're going to lose 50% of the XP you've gathered since the last time you visited an outpost. So if you just left that PD and you go out in the street and you die, you're not going to lose a whole lot. You're going to respawn with just 25 health, so you're going to need some medical supplies to get that health back up, but you're not going to lose a ton of XP. Now, if you've been out in the world exploring for hours and haven't been back to an outpost and you die and you lose 50% of that XP, that could be a little tough. So just remember, if you go out and you've been out for a while, you might want to run back into the PD, get yourself an outpost save. That way you don't lose 50% of the XP you've been working on. And as far as persistence in the world, I was under the impression that the world was going to stay the same. And I was surprised after I logged in after a reset. There's a server reset every 24 hours. And what happens is all the things that you searched and looted get reset, so you can go back like into the starter town and start all over, going into buildings and trying to find stuff. But it also resets the interior of those buildings, so they're not going to be the same as they were the last time you went into them. When you're exploring these corridors and these rooms, it's going to be a different layout. Even the PD itself, that's the thing that, like, I walked into the PD the second day and I was like, wait, this isn't at all what I remember. And I had to go back and look at my footage and I was like, this is not the same PD. This is the same town. Why is this not the same? Well, I had to go look it up. There's a server reset and all the interiors of the buildings reset, all missions reset. There's different NPCs with different missions available in different towns. And then all the interiors of the buildings are reset. So you're going to get a little different experience every time. Also let you run into that starter town. If you're low on supplies and just barely maybe the level to get into the next town, you can go in and search for more items and find more things you might need. Overall, Dead Frontier 2 is more of the zombie survival game that I've been looking for than what's out there at the moment as far as online games you can play with other people, quote-unquote MMO games. It's not PvP focused. You can play where it's not kill on sight. You can cooperate with people and go out and explore with your friends. And worry about the zombies. The zombies are dangerous. The zombies will kill you, like this big radioactive boss we're fighting right now. He can, if he hits you, give you radiation poisoning, and you have to have specific medical items to counter that. So there again, it's all about the loot you find, and as you progress and spend skill points and build up different resistances and stuff and improve your skills to kill zombies faster and move up to the next zone. So it's interesting. It is early access. Dead Frontier 2, as I've said several times, early access. It's very bare bones at the moment. Combat isn't, quite probably where it should be at the moment, but it's okay. If you're okay with a slower paced combat where you pay for a mistake that you make, this is a game that you should be interested in checking out. Like I said earlier, this hit early access on September 5th of 2018. I've read here and there the developers talking about a 2-year development process. So this is still very, very early on in their development process. I will have to say hotfixes have been coming out hot and heavy. All you gotta do is look back at the hotfix history on the Steam page, and they're putting out updates, whether it's just bug fixes or changes or whatever they're doing. They're definitely still there. They're definitely still developing. Like I said, I'm recording this on September 17th. On the 16th, in between the days that I'd played, there was another update come out that fixed several bugs and stuff. And every time you log in, you're going to see a screen that shows you, what's been changed in the latest update. So it is currently under development, and it's still got a ways to go. Definitely interested to see where this game ends up. What are the long-term plans? What's it going to look like when it's all said and done? What do they do to step this up to the next level from where it's at? It's got a nice set of bones in it right now. Now it's time to add some meat and some muscle and really make this a next level game. So if you're interested in jumping in and checking out Dead Frontier 2 free-to-play early access, you can do so on Steam right now. Jump in, check it out. It's a game that my friend Bob and I found ourselves enjoying quite a bit. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on this game as the updates come out over the next few months and years and see where this game ends up. But for now, we're going to wrap this up. As always, be sure to head over to MMOBomb.com for all the latest free-to-play gaming news and information. Everything your heart desires to know about free-to-play games is at MMOBomb.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already for more First Look videos and the free-to-play cast and lots of news and information on free-to-play games. I, as always, have been the Noob Fridge, Troy Blackburn. You can follow me on YouTube.com/NoobFridge. Thank you so much for checking out this first look. We will see you next time. Dead Frontier 2. This first look is done. I'm out.